This is the video tutorial for the Happy Days LOGAN Crossbody Sling bag. You will need fabric for the outer, interfacing if using it, fabric for the lining, a zipper, a slider and 2 rectangle rings. And this is how we make it. Add interfacing to the back of your fabrics as I've done. This is optional, but I think it gives a much nicer finish to the bag. I always put my interfacing just slightly less than my main fabric. Again, this is something that I do. You may not like doing it this way. We're now working on the tabs. Fold one of your tabs in half lengthways, right sides together. Line up all the edge. Whoops. And then add a couple of clips. Take it over to the sewing machine, 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all the way along. I've sewn all the way down and now I'm going to turn it the right way out. I've turned it the right way out and pressed it, and I've ensured that this centre seam is in the middle and not on the edge. Take your ring and thread your tab through and ensure that the seam and the join are touching. Fold over and add a clip. Now take it over the sewing machine and tack across. I've tacked along the bottom and I've repeated the whole process for the remaining one. We'll start by making the outer pocket. Place your 2 outer fabrics right sides together. Line up all the sides and edges. And then add some clips along this edge. I've added my clips and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine, 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all the way down. If you are using any fabric that's got a definite pattern on, check this is the top. Once you've sewn all the way down, flip the lining over. Now I like to leave a little bit showing at the top. Again, this is personal preference. I just think it gives a nice finish. So I'm leaving a little bit showing. Take it over to your iron and press it. And then we're going to top stitch all the way along. I've pressed and I've left a little bit of the lining showing. And now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and carefully top stitch all along. I'm going to increase my stitch length to a 4. I've top stitched along the top of the pocket, and now I'm going to place this pocket on top of the front. Line everything up. Take your time with this and then add some clips all the way around. I've added my clips and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and tack quite close to the edge the pocket into place all the way around to stop any movement. You won't see these stitches in the final make. I've tacked my pocket carefully into place. You won't see these stitches in the final make. It's just to hold them in place for the next stage. We're going to put this to one side for the moment while we work on the zipper. Place your zipper face down so the zipper pull is touching the table. Now draw a line on the zip just above the stopper. Mine's metal, yours might be plastic. I've moved the camera in a little bit so you can see clearer. From the line that we drew, measure 26 centimetres and draw another line. I've got both my lines drawn and I've opened my zipper. I'm now going to pinch my zip together, keeping those lines together, and I'm going to take it over the sewing machine, and just above the line I'm going to sew across. I've sewn across just above this line, and now I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to snip across. Now on the other end, trim the excess zip between the line and the stopper. That's my excess zip cut away, and now we're going to add the tabs. Place your zipper tabs so you're looking at the pretty side, the right side, and fold in half and press. Open out, and using that crease line, draw a line across as I've done on this side. With the zipper still facing down, and so you can still see the line you drew, get your zipper tab that you've just marked and place it underneath. Using the line you drew and the line on your zipper tab, line it all up and then add some clips. Now take it over to your sewing machine and sew across the line. I've sewn across this side, and now we're going to do the same for the other. Using the line we drew and the line on the tab, place it on top. As you can see, that's why we sewed the zip together earlier on, to keep the teeth together. Just helps a little bit. So line up that line and the line underneath, and once again add a clip just to hold things together. And we're going to take it over the sewing machine and sew carefully across the line. I've sewn over my line, and now I'm going to flip it over so I'm looking at the zipper pull and the back of the tabs, and then carefully fold your tabs over. This is best done on your ironing board, and press. Whoops, and do the same for this side as well, and press. I'll press my zipper tabs down over on my ironing board, and now taking a ruler and using the edge of the zip, carry that line all the way across and draw a line, and do the same for the other side and the other side of the zipper. I've drawn the lines and cut away the excess fabric, and that's our zipper ready for the next stage. Ensure that your zipper pull is at the top, then place it right sides together so your zipper pull now is touching the front of your bag, and line up the edge of your zipper with the edge of your bag and add some clips. I've added my clips, and now I'm going to add my zipper foot to my sewing machine and carefully sew all the way along. I've added my zipper foot and I've sewn all the way along, and I'm now going to add my lining. Take your lining fabric and place it right sides together. Ensure that this top edge lines up with the top of your zipper, and then add some clips. I've added my clips, and once again zipper foot on and sew all the way along. I've sewn my lining into place. I'm going to flip it over. Take it over to the iron and press. I've pressed it, and now I'm going to put it to one side while working on the internal pocket. Place your two internal pocket pieces right sides together. Line up all the sides and edges, and then add some clips all along the straight edges. I've added my clips, and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all along the clipped sides. We won't be sewing along the curved side. I've sewn all the way along, and I've snipped both corners, and now I'm going to turn it the right way out through the bottom. I've turned it the right way out and I've pressed it, and I'm now going to finish the top of the pocket off by top stitching across the top. Once you've top stitched, place your pocket on the remaining lining piece and follow the curve of your pocket and the curve of your lining, and add some pins. I've added more pins, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and sew along this edge where the pins are, and along this edge where the pins are. I've sewn all the way along each of the straight edge, so I'm going to put this to one side for a moment. Place your front outer that you made earlier right sides up, so you're looking at the pocket, and take your remaining outer fabric and place it right sides together on top, and line the top edge and the top edge of your zip together, and then add some clips. I've added my clips, and now I'm going to put my zipper foot back on and sew all the way along. I've sewn all the way across, and now I'm going to turn it over. Now take your remaining lining, the one you've just put the pocket on, and place right sides together, so pretty side to pretty side, and once again line up the side edges and add some clips. I've lined up my top edge and added my clips, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine, and once again with my zipper foot on, sew all the way along. I've sewn all the way across. Now I'm going to open everything up. And the next stage is to ensure everything is pulled away from the zip. So take it over your ironing board and press. I'm now going to top stitch along each side of the zip. I'm going to increase my stitch length to a 4. I've top stitched all the way along both sides. It does go through to the lining the other side, and I've measured 2 centimetres from this edge and made a mark. 2 centimetres from this edge and made a mark. The next stage is to move our lining out of the way. Now add your tabs that we made earlier and place on the line we've just drawn, and do the same for the other one. Make sure that they're facing inwards as you do that. Add a clip as I've done and then tack into place fairly close to the edge. You won't see these stitches in the final make. The next stage is quite important. Pull your zip down. Now we've got to bring this side over and match these 2 points. And then add a clip. And then match these 2 points and add a clip. Flatten your fabrics and then add a clip. Do the same for this side. Flatten the fabrics and add a clip. As a check, turn your fabric over and it should be the same both sides. If it isn't, just take your time until it's right. I've turned it over to the original side. Carry on adding clips around this curve and along the bottom. I added my clips around my outer. I'll spin it round so you can see a bit clearer. Now match up these 2 points, add a clip. Same here, match up these 2 points and add a clip. Carry on adding clips as I've done, and also remember to leave a space for your gap. So all the way around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, remembering to leave a gap for turning later. I've sewn all the way around and now I'm going to turn it the right way out through the gap I left. I've turned it the right way out. I've sewn up the gap in the lining and pressed it, and that's our bag part done. And now we're going to work on the strap. Making the strap, I'm using a sample size so it's much easier to show you on camera. Place your fabric right sides down so you're looking at the wrong side of your fabric. Fold in half. This is much easier done on your ironing board. Fold in half and press, then open out and ensure that this edge touches the centre crease that you've just made. And the same for this side, bring it over and then press it and then fold over once again, ensuring that these sides all line up nicely, and then add a few clips. I've added some clips and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine, increase my stitch length to about a 4 and then carefully sew fairly close to the edge. And I always do the open side first, but that is up to you however you do it, and then all along the folded edge. I've sewn carefully all along. You could use contrasting cotton if you wish. And then carry on all your strap so it's a nice long strap like mine. To attach the fixed end, pass your strap through, fold over this raw edge, add a clip, both sides, then take it over the sewing machine and sew along. Take your slider and place it wrong sides down. Now a slider has a front and a back. This is the front, and if you turn it over you'll see where the metal's joined and it's quite flat. That's the back. We want to be looking at the front. So place your strap, make sure it's not twisted, so you're looking at the front of your strap. Take your slider and place it through the top. Then thread it through the bottom. Now take the end and thread it through your tab. You can move it around a bit to help you. Now the fiddly bit. I pulled some of the strap fabric out the way to show you. This end has got to go through this side and back on itself and back out the other side. Hopefully you can see it's come through, gone through again and pulled it through, and I'm going to finish it off now. Now I've got to take this end, fold it as we did for the other end, and place it on this side. Add a couple of clips. And as we did before, take it over the sewing machine and sew across. And this completes your Happy Days Logan Crossbody Sling bag.